All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to the Bad Brothers Babyface Breakdown. I'm Big Bubba Brogdon,
I'm Bish Dingo, the luchador.
and today is just a normal, average, everyday Sunday. Well, and then you have these two idiots. Well, I guess we'll just start with how's your week been?
Yeah, good week for me, man. No complaints. Didn't get to watch as much as I planned to watch. But still got a good bit in. So how about yourself?
I had a pretty good week. It's been a busy week at work, but I did get to watch a lot of wrestling.
That's good. Sounds like a good week. Um, yeah, I think the big thing that I wanted to watch but just did not get around to was Impact's Hard to Kill.
Ah.
Um, some pretty interesting matches on that card that I'm looking forward to seeing. So, but yeah, that I guess happened. What, Saturday?
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Yeah. It's pretty late in the week, so that's probably why I didn't get around to it. I did catch the weekly episode of Impact leading up to Hard to Kill. So I'm caught up aside from Hard to Kill.
Okay.
No WWE, though. You know, the news surrounding WWE was pretty hectic this week. I did watch NXT, did catch Dynamite. So yeah.
Well, that's good at least. You caught a few things.
Yep. Got to watch some.
Well, we could start off with just Monday through Saturday of last week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you watch Raw?
I did watch Raw.
Cool. Anything worth mentioning?
Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest of Judgment Day are the new number one contenders for the Usos Unified Tag Team Championship.
Okay.
So who knows how that's going to go down?
I can guess. I don't think Damian Priest and Dominic are going to be the ones to unseat the Usos.
They may not. You had Uncle Howdy on Raw, doing like a little face-off with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Bliss saying that she is the new face of fear. And Uncle Howdy paying very close attention to it.
That's interesting.
What else do we have?
Tell you, the Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt stuff has been a slow burn, man. I don't know if they're going at like a 1 or a 2 right now. I'm not saying I would prefer them to go, at a 10, but bumping it up to about at least a 3 or 4 would be pretty nice for me. It's not quite moving, at the pace that I would like. But given the options of moving at the current speed versus just kind of pulling the plug on it too fast, I would prefer what we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, I like the storyline that's going on. I think it's definitely going to lead up to either Mania or Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I think the slow burn keeps it pretty intriguing for sure. I'm still pretty interested in finding out what the story that they're gonna tell is. Who is Uncle Howdy? How does that all unfold?
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely interesting. Um, but I think the problem though, for me is there's not enough happening as quickly for me to tune in every week. You know what I'm saying? I know I can catch the 2 minute highlight video on my social media, so I'm not really incentivized to sit down and watch the whole show.
Right. Which is fine.
Yeah, I'm a busy guy, so that's fine.
That's totally fine. Unlike me, that stays up till like 1 or 2 in the morning most nights.
Yeah, I mean I'm usually midnight, but even then I'm typically sitting up working. It's not fun. So busting tail, to get things ready for work the next day. So
Yeah.
I'm also a procrastinator, so I tend to put things off until the last possible moment. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's ultimately a good thing. Just not really having the time. I do, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit more with all the WWE news. But I'm a WWE kid, or I'm a WWF kid. I grew up, uh, with WWF being number one. And even, when WCW was around and I used to, change the channels back and forth every Monday. And I had my guys that I liked in WCW, but uh, WWF was always home, and yeah, I miss it. I miss I miss being able to watch. I wish, man, I wish we lived in a world where I could exclusively watch WWE and be thoroughly entertained with the time that I put in, you know.
Yeah.
So I hope for that, man. Who knows what the future holds? A lot of uncertainty right now with WWE. So maybe, man, maybe we could get back to that point at some point in the future.
Maybe. If all goes well.
Yep.
And they don't actually do this whole selling deal.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think the selling would be like the death nail. I don't, I'm not quite so pessimistic. I mean, I think that could lead to, depending on who buys it and how they operate. I mean, that could lead to some good times, some good wrestling, some good storytelling. Bright future.
Yeah.
Is it likely? No. But I mean, under this, I mean, honestly, for the last several years, it hasn't really been, that great. So a case could be made either way. You know, um, I was talking to a friend of ours uh, about the whole rumor going around that Tony Khan was interested in buying WWE, and a lot of the like criticisms that he had in regards to that scenario, like, oh well, we'll this is what will happen. I had to point out that like a lot of those things that he was kind of mentioning that he was worried about happening in WWE under the helm of Tony Khan, such as like bad booking and underutilized talent, et cetera, et cetera. I had to point out that we're already there with WWE. We already have bad booking and underutilized talent. That's been a thing. So I guess if those, are the worst case scenarios that you're concerned about, we're already experiencing that. So I don't know how it would really change much. But
It would
yeah,
also be like how WWE did to WCW guys when they came into WWE. They just buried WCW guys.
yeah, it's that's very short sighted, I think, and on WWE, and I know a lot of people will say that boils down to Vince and his ego. and I wouldn't argue against that. I think that probably is the case. But you see people like Sting, you know, going to finally breaking down and going to WWE, and his time there was just miserable. It was awful. It was terrible.
It was short.
It was short, but I mean, I don't fault him for that. I don't blame him for that. If I was him, I'd have got out of there. You know, I think Sting probably, Sting was one of the holdouts. When Vince bought WCW, he chose not to go. When you had everybody else, perfectly happy to collect that paycheck and go work for WWE, Sting said, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to sit at home, write out my contract. Of course, we all know he ended up in TNA and chose to go that route. But I think, it's pretty safe to say that Sting probably always wondered, what if, what if I had went? And I think that's what led to him eventually signing that deal and going to WWE. But I'd be willing to bet, man, that within no time he realized the mistake that he had made. But to see what, I mean, the guy's been wrestling in AEW for a few years now and has done some pretty awesome things. We've got Sting jumping off of second story, going through tables, taking chair shots,
With how old he is too.
Yeah, and I have to look at all that and think that WWE really missed an opportunity there. Sting is money. It's just, like I said, really short-sighted on their part to handle him the way that they did. But I think that all boils down to Vince and his ego, Sting being a WCW guy, and I think even the fact that Sting didn't jump ship right away probably hurt him in terms of how he was handled when he finally did come to WWE. I'm sure Vince did not forget, that Sting was a holdout.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that I don't know. I think most of that can be said for most of the WCW guys, and to the ECW guys to a lesser degree. I think people like Rob Van Dam and the Dudley Boys were treated pretty fairly. Treated pretty good. Of course, most of the rest of the ECW roster, not so much.
Yeah.
Paul
Heyman was.
Yeah. Paul Heyman and Vince always had a working relationship, though. They liked to pretend, when there was an ECW, that they were enemies. And Paul and ECW, they would always take shots at WWE. But as we've come to find out now, years later, Paul was always politicking and handshaking with Vince. I don't know if you are aware, if you saw the back in the day whenever ECW was still a thing, a lot of the ECW guys showed up on Raw. And so they had a working relationship. And I think that's one of the reasons that Paul has been treated so well since he sold out. But let's be honest too. Paul Heyman is a great wrestling mind. He is a great.
He's smart.
He's smart. He's really good on the mic. So I mean, he brings a lot to the table. So, but yeah, the WCW guys. I mean, some of the ones that come to mind who were treated well, people like Chris Jericho, actually jumped ship before Vince bought WCW. As far as people who came over with the WCW brand, the name, whenever Vince bought them out, I can't really think of any who were in that boat who got treated well.
Booker T.
Booker T. Yeah, you're right. Booker T's one.
I'm Booker T was one. Hogan, not so much.
Booker T and Jericho, I think, have probably been treated the best as far as former WCW guys. As far as people who had a name in WCW, I mean, we can look at people like Triple H. Hunter Hearst Helmsley was a WCW guy first.
Steve Austin was a WCW guy first.
Yep. But both of those guys were not, by any measure, superstars or money makers for WCW. They were very, especially Triple H. I mean, a lot of
they were low card to mid tier card.
Yeah, Austin had a better WCW run, but he still wasn't even close to the top of the card.
He was stunning Steve Austin.
Yep, stunning Steve Austin with the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman, tag team champ.
Even when Pillman came to WWE, did Pillman betray Austin and join the Hart Foundation?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know he was definitely in the Hart Foundation. I don't remember how the stuff with him and Austin played out. I know they were enemies because you had that infamous, I guess, bit where said Pillman or Austin showed up at Pillman's house. Pillman, brandished a gun.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Yeah, the Brian Pillman stuff's unfortunate too. We can come back to that when we get on the topic, because that definitely plays into the theme for the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to hop back on track and
get
back to Raw.
Well, that was just about it for Raw. I mean, there was a tag team turmoil to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles, and Judgment Day ended up winning.
Yeah.
They beat Street Profits in the process, Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, which I think there's a Hurt Business forming back up. MVP and Bobby are talking, and then all of a sudden you see Shelton and Cedric team up again.
That could be a good thing. I think the Hurt Business was had the makings of something pretty good that could have had some legs and gone on for a minute, but I think they did squash that a little bit too soon.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds
rumors going around about Rhea Ripley and her future in 2023.
Oh yeah, haven't heard any of that.
They're saying that they're going to put her at like a full China mode and give her the Intercontinental title on SmackDown.
It's 2023, man. Gotta get at least a little woke.
I mean, they're only doing it because of, China and Rhea. They're trying to make a comparison because Rhea's wanted to fight so many men lately.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure a certain degree of that woke crowd will be into that. So
maybe.
Yeah. Bring over some of those blue-haired.
Careful.
those blue-haired AEW fans. Get them to change the channel and cheer for Ripley instead of Nyla.
All right, on to NXT. New Year's Evil.
Yep, just move on.
Yep.
Yeah, NXT wasn't too bad. I caught that. Trying to remember what all went down. Donovan Dijak, or I guess Dijak as he's now being called. We're gonna drop the double name and just go for the single name.
Dominic Dijakovic. Now it's just Dijak.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, that I think works. But it is a weird thing that WWE always does. It's like you can't have two names. You just got to go by the one. And then
weren't you calling him Dijak?
I typically call him Donovan Dijak. Yeah, because that's how I know him. Back in the Ring of Honor days when he was Donovan Dijak.
I think that fits then, Dijak.
Yeah. Like I said, I like his. Like I said, it's just a funny thing that WWE always does when they have somebody with double names. They always have to just drop the one. And then you have like this weird thing going on with Mia Yim, where she's Mia Yim, but she's also
Meechin.
Meechin. Yeah,
Meechin.
that's not confusing at all. People can follow that, but like they can't tell the difference between.
That's her official name on the superstars list is Meechin.
Yeah, so she's not Mia Yim at all anymore.
I think they can still say Mia Yim, but on the title it says Meechin.
Yeah, see, that's a weird thing that WWE's kind of doing there. They dropped the Adrian from Adrian Neville because they were worried that people would be confused when they try to Google him and come up with Aaron Neville, who is a singer, So that's too confusing. But Mia Yim, Meechin, same person. It's all good.
I mean, I think the Neville thing worked.
Yeah.
Because Adrian Neville is a cool name and all, but just Neville's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. It's just a funny, weird thing that I've noticed that WWE does.
Tommaso Ciampa, Austin Theory.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works better as slang, but I like seeing the full name on the card, like the header when they come out. It gives it more of a kind of realistic feel when you have Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. It's like these people have real names, similar to what you would see in like MMA. Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar. When they just kind of drop the majority of the roster down to just like Neville and Rusev and Cesaro and but yeah, the Dijak match was pretty decent.
The storytelling between D'Angelo and Stax is pretty good too.
Yeah. Had Stax, I guess, kind of sacrifice himself.
Stax was wanting to, and D'Angelo pushed him out of the way.
Yep. Told him he wasn't his boss; he was family or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a good moment. I guess the big news from that for me was had the Creed brothers were supposed to be wrestling the Veer team, the Indian guy. I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're called.
They don't have a tag team name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just Veer and. Hold on, it's coming to me.
Cue the Jeopardy theme right about now.
God. He was with Grayson Waller for a second. Sangha and Veer.
Okay. Well, one of the guys wasn't there, didn't show up.
Veer.
Yeah, and so the other one came out and got a mic and was talking smack, and then Jinder Mahal came running out through the crowd and hopped in the ring and attacked the Creed brothers. I'd say that was pretty unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
A former WWE champion showing up in NXT and wrecking some guys, and I like Jinder, man. I'm a fan of his.
Do not hinder Jinder.
Nope, wouldn't think of it. So it's a big man to try and hinder.
Yeah, there are speculations that he was using steroids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. WWE's pretty strict on that these days. I think a lot of that just stemmed from his physique when he left WWE versus his physique when he returned. But there was a pretty big gap between the time that he left and the time that he came back. Pretty ample amount of time to really hit the gym and bulk up that way naturally.
I mean, look at McIntyre.
Yeah. Not always steroids. But yeah, Jinder looks great. Be interested to see what they do with him. I think if he sticks around in NXT, it'll really help the brand. At least for me. I mean, it gives me another reason to tune in every week and want to watch, being that I am a fan. So, yeah, just one more person to watch there. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, those are really the big things for me. I don't really remember much else from that.
What about Pretty Deadly trying to do a tag team turmoil to get tag team titles against the New Day? A match against the New Day.
It brought out some jobbers who were like mocking the Rockers.
Yeah.
I didn't really get that, but
it brought out the jobbers. It brought out Indris Inafar and Malik Blade. It was supposed to bring out Hank. I was supposed to bring out, oh God, what's their names? Brooks Jensen.
Yeah.
And
it's like Briggs or something.
Yes, Josh Briggs.
Yeah.
But they didn't show up because they attacked him in the back, I think.
Yeah. Someone did.
Gallus attacked them in the back.
Yeah.
And Gallus came to the ring, fought Pretty Deadly, and won the match, giving them the right to face the New Day.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with those guys. I think I heard somebody on commentary saying that they were, they'd been gone for a little while. So I guess they've been around and, have been absent.
Yeah, they were former NXT UK Tag Team Champions.
Okay. I think, what's one of them, Wolfgang?
Wolfgang.
Yeah, I think
Wolfgang, Mark Coffey, and then there's a brother named Joe Coffey.
Okay. I think I might be familiar with Wolfgang from when he was solo.
Mm-hmm. Then we had the Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller NXT Championship match.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a pretty good match.
Mm-hmm. The ending was honestly really good. I know it's not a satisfying ending, but that's why they're gonna have a rematch at Vengeance Day. So in a steel cage, but overall, the entire match was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was good. I like the Waller guy. Hadn't really seen a whole lot from him, and that was probably maybe like the third match that I've seen him wrestle.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not super. A lot of my time watching recently, when I've caught, he's just been, cutting a promo or something like that backstage. Something I haven't really caught. Yeah, I haven't really caught a whole lot of his matches, but I'm liking him more. The more I see him. So
we had that happen, and then found out that the match will happen at Vengeance Day. We had Charlie Dempsey face Hank Walker in a match. Dempsey easily beating Walker with a variant of a crossface STF. It's a pretty brutal move.
Yeah.
And then we had the 20 we had the 20-woman Battle Royal for the number one contendership to NXT Women's Championship, which ended weirdly.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, I think I don't think I finished. I think I started that match and then got caught up and forgot to go back and finish it.
I think this might be one of the first I've seen of this. Maybe I'm wrong, but there were 2 winners. They declared 2 winners of the Battle Royal.
So Toxic Attraction?
Because both apparently had got eliminated at the same time. Instead of putting them back in the ring to fight, they just gave both of them the win.
Yeah, that's weird because they did cut a promo before that, or they did an interview before that, and were asked, what happens if they're the last 2, in the ring, and I think it was Gigi that said, well, we'll you're gonna hear them declare both of us the winners, and that's, I guess, weird that ended up happening.
Yeah.
That's not.
I feel like that shouldn't happen. If you're both eliminated at the same time, like if both of your feet touch the floor and you're the last 2, the 2 should get back in the ring.
Yeah, it's not a typical. I don't know. Can't think of a battle royal or a Royal Rumble or anything like that that's ever had two winners declared.
Well, the Royal Rumble that had Batista and John Cena.
They both
were eliminated at the same time, but they declared John Cena the victor at the very end. It's where Vince McMahon tried to get in the ring, but he tore both of his quads.
Okay. So what did the winner of the Battle Royal get?
Number 1 contendership of the NXT Women's Championship. So now at Vengeance Day, Roxanne Perozzo will face Toxic Attraction in a triple threat match.
That's I mean, honestly, that's more interesting than a 1-on-1.
Honestly, I would have liked it to be going the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens route and doing it a 2-on-1 championship match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Roxy's pretty tiny.
Yeah, I think it's going to end with Roxy coming back out as the champion, retaining.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too, and I think it being a 2-on-1, it would be pretty difficult to have that outcome and it be believable. So,
yeah.
I think we'll probably see some friction between Gigi and the other girl who I can't be bothered to.
JC Jane.
That's her name.
Don't worry, dude. I play the super card game. I have their names down.
Well, I mean, I'm just surprised that I'm calling Gigi and not by her other name that I know her as. So, as I'm one to do, I have a habit of holding on to those old names, man.
I know. I guess we'll move on to AEW Dynamite from Wednesday.
I'm just going to point out that, like, ever since that episode of the podcast where we talked about Isaac Yankem, now every time I see Britt Baker, I
you
cannot
think of
help.
Isaac Yankem.
I just, they're forever associated now. Like, once I made the connection.
You just look at Britt Baker, and it's just like you're in bed watching AEW. You see Britt Baker, you look at an image, and it's just Isaac Yankem. It's the Wolverine thing.
That, and I found myself, watching Dynamite and imagining her in his gimmick, like 100%, like with the outfit, the really bad teeth.
No.
Because, I mean, she's essentially got his gimmick without the look. So it's like, what if you just gave her the look from Isaac Yankem to go with the gimmick? And it's a pretty scary thought, man.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway,
I don't want that on my mind tonight.
from now on, every time you see Britt Isaac Yankem, just ruin Just ruin Britt Baker for me.
All right, let's go over to Dynamite real quick. We started out with a okay match between Hangman out Page and John Moxley.
It was all right.
Yeah, I don't like the finish.
I don't like Adam Page coming out on top. I think that was.
I don't like the finish.
I think that was a mistake. I did like that there was like a moment where Moxley no sold Adam Page's finish.
Yeah, the dead eye lariat, and then
it was the one where I don't remember what it's called, but where he puts him up on his shoulders and then like sits down.
Deadeye. It's the Deadeye driver.
Okay, yeah.
No sold it, and then
Moxley. He pulled that on Moxley, and Moxley jumped right up like it was nothing, bounced off the ropes, and freaking kicked him in the head.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. That was a good moment. I really don't like Moxley's what his finisher has become. Initially, it was an underhook DDT. So, it's DDT, traditional DDT, but he's hooking the arms.
It's a butterfly DDT is what it's called.
Yeah, well.
A double underhook DDT or butterfly DDT. I think Mankind has done it before.
Yeah, I liked that. That was good. I'm a big fan of the DDT. I think doing a traditional DDT would have been enough, but I like hooking the arms. I was a fan of that move for a while. The way that he does it now,
where he lifts,
he's picking them up, and it's almost like a brain buster, like an underhook DDT / brain buster, because he's dropping them more on the back of their head. Almost like just would it be like an underhook suplex, where he would hook the arms and just suplex them over.
Yeah.
It's looking a lot more like that, and it's also, it's kind of frightening, like some of the air that these guys are getting and landing on their heads like that. I kind of grit my teeth, a little bit.
Paradigm shift.
Yeah. I wish he would take it back to, the more simple, just DDT. But anyway, I digress. It was a fine match. It wasn't anything to write home about in my estimation. But I didn't fast forward it. So for me, like if I'm watching and I get to a point where I'm kind of bored, yeah, you're done. I'm just gonna skip you. But I didn't skip it, so it obviously was, there was something there.
You know what I did skip?
What's that?
The thing right after that match.
Refresh my memory. What was right after that?
Adam Cole.
Oh, I did not skip that, but it was not because I enjoy Adam Cole. I got sucked in to what the dummy was saying, and it was cringe, man. I hate Adam Cole so much.
I don't hate Adam Cole. I just know what he was going to say. I even went back and I knew exactly what he was going to say.
Yeah, it was completely predictable, man. And he's so so proud of himself, like, and that's part of why I hate him. I cannot understand why that guy has fans.
It's because of the gimmick.
Which is what? What is his gimmick? So,
boom.
Boom. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Long hair and boom, and I don't know.
Just because he's small, skinny, he's not even that really good on the mic.
He's not. No, he's not. He's decent on the mic. There are definitely people who are worse.
And because he had a cool tag team name.
Which was?
The Undisputed Era.
Yeah, it's all right.
Redragon too.
Yeah. Yeah, Undisputed Era was okay. I think the hand sign that they...
Do you not do it?
Is that... What is it? No, wait. I don't know. whatever the hand sign was pretty stupid.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember what it was.
Like a U. And then,
Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. That's dumb. That's dumb.
I don't know. I like that.
I think a lot of what's been, I mean, I'm just guessing because I don't really know, but because I don't really see any appeal in Adam Cole, but I would guess that to some degree, I think Adam Cole is probably cooler by association, because he's, with Undisputed Era. I'm a huge fan of Red Dragon, and Roderick Strong is one of my favorites as well. The Elite, Bullet Club, like Adam Cole has had some pretty cool associations. He's always been my least favorite in any group that he's been in, though, and that says a lot when you look at the Kingdom. Freaking Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett is awful, terrible. Mike Kanellis, the guy that took his wife's last name.
Oh yeah,
he's terrible. Matt Taven is okay. Maria Kanellis is okay. Yeah, Adam Cole and Mike Bennett are just the worst. But yeah, so Adam Cole did the old fake out, sad story about my health, and I got some bad news. Made it seem like he was done, gonna have to retire, and then he pulled the old switcheroo. The bad news is actually not for me; it's for the AEW locker room, because I'm back, baby. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Heard it before.
Yep. Nothing special there, and then he exits the ring and walks up the ramp, and it's done, man. I half expected somebody to come out and kick his teeth in. At least that's what I wanted to happen.
Just in your mind, you're like, there is a perfect world.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I'm booking that, I would have had freaking negotiate with Miro already and bring that monster back and treat him the way he should be treated, and have him, destroy.
I think he's writing out his AEW contract, and he's just going to come back to WWE. I'm set. He's going to write out that contract and come back.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will, but WWE treated him better than AEW has.
A lot better.
Yeah.
How cool would it be at the Royal Rumble this year? You just hear that music hit, and everyone's going to chant Rusev Day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that guy's been underutilized on both rosters for sure. I mean, as well as WWE treated him, they didn't treat him as well as I would have, They
didn't treat him well, but he at least sold merchandise.
No, yeah. Yeah, and got to for a while there, I mean, they did have him on a monster heel run, and
yeah, he was in an undefeated streak that finally got stopped by John Cena.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone gets to have a match at WrestleMania against John Cena.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's, even though he didn't get the win.
He was the modern day Iron Sheik.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see him like a Yokozuna level push for the guy, I think he could have been WWE champion for sure. Yeah, I mean, especially because I think Jinder Mahal's WWE championship run was very similar to what I would have liked, Rusev to have. Well, I mean, just in the sense that Jinder, was seen, as he was playing that kind of foreigner, heel gimmick. And so, and it worked for Jinder. I mean, a lot of people were down on the decision whenever he won and they made him the champion. But I think his run was pretty good. So I mean, likewise, I could have seen Rusev in that same spot.
Oh, I guess we'll get back on track with the Dynamite news.
Yeah. So what was it? Cole? Was that the Jungle Hook?
Jungle Hook, yes. Jungle Hook versus the Firm, Big Bill and Lee Moriarty.
Yep.
That was a good match.
It was all right. I'm not really stoked on Jungle Hook, though. I will award a point for a clever name, because Jungle Book, Jungle Hook, it's
Hookhausen.
Yeah. I mean, these things just write themselves, really.
Any team that Hook is a part of has to have his name in it with someone else's.
Yeah. Just combine the two. I like Hook a lot. Not a huge fan of Jungle Boy, though. I don't dislike him. But yeah, again, I'm gonna bring up the size. Lee Moriarty is bigger than both of those guys. Morrissey is twice the size of both of those guys. So yeah, it didn't. They weren't much of a challenge for Jungle Hook. That ended the way I thought it was going to end, with them getting the win.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what I don't know what you do with that. Where does that go? What are they doing with? I mean, is Jungle Boy and Hook gonna remain a tag team for a long time? Are they gonna win? Are they gonna win that
thing?
Yeah,
I think the Firm are never going to acknowledge they're going after him ever again.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't get is the Firm.
I mean, talk about disappointments, man. That was a thing that I was really interested in for a solid 2 weeks, and then it just completely went nowhere, fell off entirely to where it's not even really a thing anymore.
Yep. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Bryan Danielson versus Takeshita.
Takeshita. Yeah, that was as MJF.
Takeshita backstage.
Yeah, or in the ring. No, Takeshita. That was a good match. I mean, he put Bryan Danielson in the ring with anybody who's remotely competent, and I think you're going to have at least a good match.
It was a good match. It didn't end with a pinfall or submission. It just was stopped.
Yeah.
I mean, Danielson went off on him. Just started stomping his head in. The ref just called it. Which, again, the ref is Aubrey.
Yep. Horrible ref. One of the worst.
When it's getting fun, when it's finally getting fun, when things are getting interesting, Aubrey comes to ruin it.
Yep.
Happened last week with the Acclaim losing to them. Not clean, but just because Aubrey was there and saw it means that they had to reverse the entire thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Aubrey's kind of become a character almost. Like she's part of the show and she's not just a ref. Because she somehow got over with the fans. I don't know what she did to make fans, but I've seen, live footage from like the whole arena is chanting her name. I don't get it. I don't really know what got her over with fans, and that's part of the reason I don't really like her. I feel like there's a lot of times where she I don't know, kind of seems to overact or overreact. And it's almost like a look at me, like, hey guys, don't forget that Aubrey's here. I don't think anybody's tuning into a wrestling show to see the refs, you know. So
Well,
there's some weirdos out there, so I'm sure there's some, but oh man, I had a huge crush on Earl Hebner growing up. So I mean that was my sole reason for even watching wrestling every week.
remember when Heath Slater and his gimmick was being a referee because of the Baron Corbin general manager stuff?
I don't. No, thankfully.
Really?
That sounds awful.
Baron Corbin put Rhino and Heath against each other. Heath beat Rhino, and Heath got to keep his job as a referee. And then at TLC, he turned on Corbin and got Braun the victory. Angle came out, blah, blah, blah.
Yes,
I remember it like it was
That was back around Heath Slater's "I Got Kids" gimmick.
That was at the very end of that gimmick.
Yeah.
This is around where Heath was finally going to exit.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying much attention then, especially to Heath Slater. You know.
I mean, I kind of liked Heath during that time. Heath is the inaugural SmackDown Tag Team Champion with Rhino.
Yeah, he's his last WWE run didn't really do a lot for me. I mean, he had a few moments that were comical. You know, the whole "I Got Kids" thing was pretty funny for a minute.
Now I'm going to bring that up later because look at the title, and that'll be one of our things.
Yeah,
is about Heath Slater. But yeah, let me continue with Dynamite. We had Hayter and Baker versus Saray and Tony Storm. Had Hayter.
That was actually a decent match, man. I started to skip it, but then I got sucked in. You know, again, nothing to write home about, but it was entertaining. It was good.
Hayter got the win for the team.
Yep.
Then we got Jericho Appreciation Society coming out to the ring to make fun of Ricky Starks. Starks comes out to the ring and wants to face Jake Hager.
Yeah. And Action Andretti shows up, kind of back up Ricky Starks with his very subpar promo. Which, I mean, you got Ricky Starks and Jericho on the mic. You know, that's pretty hard to follow. You know, and I think it probably just kind of stood out a little bit more to me by contrast. You know, I'm sitting here listening to Ricky Starks talk and listening to Jericho talk, who are great at what they do on the mic, and then, you know, Action Andretti shows up and says his 2 cents, and it just, I don't know, fell kind of flat for me.
And then the final match of the night was the main event. It was for the World Trios Tag Team Championships. It was the final match of the best of 7.
Yep, and it was a ladder match.
Yeah, or as they put it, an Escalara de la Muerte match.
Sure.
Which means ladder of death.
Spanish.
Yes. Couldn't have just said ladder match.
Yep. No. Gotta be bilingual. Even though I'm pretty sure they have they do have a Spanish announce.
They have a Spanish team.
Yeah, we completely glossed over all that news.
Helico and Serpentico are on that Spanish announce team.
Yeah, and they formed like a wrestling faction on one of the Dark episodes.
Yeah, it was more on the Dynamite.
Was it Dynamite?
Yeah, it was Dynamite during the Trios Money Battle Royal. I don't know. Yeah. It was the Spanish announce team and Luther. It was basically just the Chaos Project and then Helico.
The Spanish announce project.
Or SAP.
Yep. And then they got in a lot
of flack.
Yeah, because apparently that's somebody else's gimmick entirely, and they jacked it almost down to. I mean, I don't remember the name of the original folks, but it was very, very similar. Similar name, similar idea in the sense of you have a wrestling faction of Spanish announcers, you know. Yeah. Anyway, back to the match. It was great, man. There was, it started out really strong. The best of 7. It did kind of hit a little bit of a lull for me here towards the end. But I will say, this match made it all worth watching. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man, and
the match was great.
Yeah, I've enjoyed most of the best of 7 matches to a pretty great extent. But this one being a ladder match, made for some pretty interesting opportunities, some pretty cool spots. I enjoyed it, man. It was really good. And have new trios champions.
Yep. Although I will have to say, we keep referencing Lucha Underground, but I think Lucha Underground did their ladder match for the trios titles better.
Yeah, I mean, Lucha Underground did almost everything better than any other modern wrestling company.
Yeah.
I could go on for days, man, about how much I miss Lucha Underground. But yes,
we still do the YouTube. We still watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I need to. I'm sure there'll come a time in the very near future where I revisit it. I've seen the whole thing twice through, like the whole run. There's a few episodes in there I've seen way more than twice, but
I mean, they left us off on a cliffhanger too, so
yeah,
it'll never happen. But
it's such a shame, man. I mean, they really, really had something awesome there.
It was great.
Yeah. But yeah, that closed out Dynamite.
Yep, that was off of Dynamite, and now on to Friday night's Triple Threat. We had Rampage, SmackDown, and Hard to Kill.
Yep. I didn't catch Hard to Kill, but this week's episode of Impact, I did catch. There was some pretty good stuff there. You had Taylor Wilde and Masha Slamovich. That was a really, really good match, man. Impact has probably the strongest women's division. I'm gonna go on record and say that. I've known that Slamovich is pretty good. Been a fan of hers since she showed up in Impact. I think she got named by some company, Sports Illustrated maybe, in like the top 10 best wrestlers of 2022. But Taylor Wilde, I've seen a few matches from her, and she's been good. I mean, I haven't, really thought poorly of her. But she really impressed me the most in that match. Really good match, worth the watch. There was a lot of, I think, Black Taurus had a kind of a squash match against the guy that he wrestled, Anthony Green, I think, maybe. Some guy I'd never heard of or seen. It's Bubba Dudley. Got into it with Scott D'Amore. And D'Amore finally punched Bully Ray in the face. And then there were a couple guys who I'm not aware of, kind of lower card guys, who I guess have aligned themselves with Bubba and came out and pretty much helped him just destroy Scott D'Amore. those were really the only things of note, really, from the episode. I think Moose got a promo. Had some words with Joe Hendry. They did a feature on Mickey James, talking to her, kind of pumping her up for her match at Hard to Kill. Yeah, I mean that was mostly it for that. Trying to remember some of the matches that were supposed to be on Hard to Kill. Because there were a few that I was looking forward to.
Well, do you want me to go through them?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we had to start off in the countdown to Hard to Kill, I believe it was 6-man match in the X Division Scramble match. It was Alan Angels versus Yua Irimura, Delirious, Mike Bailey, Action Mike Jackson, and Kushida.
Sounds like it's pretty good. I hope so.
Have you ever heard of Action Mike Jackson?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay, I want you to look up Action Mike Jackson.
Okay.
Because it's actually insane.
Action Mike Jackson. Huh, he's from wait. I don't know if I'm looking at the same if the right guy, but 73 years old.
73 years old.
Wow. Born in Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know. I mean, all of them. That's really the only knowledge I looked at as far as information, and then I'm seeing pictures. I mean, dude looks pretty good for 73.
He's good for 73, and he did like the old school, like Undertaker's old school move.
Yeah, the rope walk.
On the top rope and walk the ropes. He did, I think, 2 laps around the ring.
What?
On the top rope.
Yeah, man. So I'm glad that I know that. Like that's.
So when I saw him, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that makes me even more stoked to watch Hard to Kill.
So we had Kushida win that match and his return to Impact.
So yeah, Kushida, the NXT guy. He's in NXT recently.
And in NXT.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that he. I didn't know that he left NXT or WWE.
It was a very quiet leave.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, that's happened a while ago. It was a very quiet leave.
That's pretty cool that he's back in Impact. Because Alex Shelley is in Impact still, which he's teaming with Chris Sabin doing the Motor City Machine Guns.
Mm-hmm.
But Alex Shelley and Kushida used to be a tag team called the Time Splitters.
Time Splitters.
So yeah, I mean that creates some interesting possibilities there. But yeah, I like Kushida. He's good.
The Fujiwara armbar.
Yeah.
Then we had the X Division Championship match between X Division champion Trey Miguel versus Black Taurus.
Yeah.
We had Trey Miguel come up on top on that one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I like Black Taurus though. He's pretty good. He's pretty agile for his size. He's not a small guy.
No, he's not. He's a really big man.
Yep. But he's got that lucha libre, agility.
It's the mask.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not doing anything too crazy, but I mean he does some stuff that's impressive.
But yeah, Trey Miguel didn't win clean though. He did put spray paint in the eyes of Black Taurus.
Okay. Yeah. Um, that's I guess they had him go heel recently.
Yeah.
Um,
And he spray painted the X Division Championship and all that.
right. So yeah, I mean that sounds like a heel move. So yeah, good for him.
We had the World Championship match between Alexander and Bully Ray in a Full Metal Mayhem match. That was a really good match.
Yeah.
There was one point where Alexander almost beat him by pinfall, but Ray kicked out, and in desperation, Alexander put him in an ankle lock for Ray to tap out. He's like, I can't put him down for the count, but at least I need to make him tap.
Yeah.
I have to make him give up. So
It's pretty cool. I'm liking Bully Ray.
oh yeah, and Tommy Dreamer got involved.
Okay.
So Dreamer got involved and hit Bully Ray with a trash can.
Yeah, I guess heel move, but he's doing it to Bully Ray, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's because of Bully Ray's past.
Oh yeah. Bully Ray is really good at being a scumbag.
Yeah.
Like making me believe that he's and I know Bully Ray's probably a pretty decent guy. Yeah, I mean he even gets me sometimes. I'm just like, man, you're really crummy, and then I catch myself getting caught up in kayfabe. But that's good. That's what you want. That's how you know you're doing your job well. And yeah, glad to have Bully Ray in Impact. I wonder how long he's going to stick around.
I think maybe another year.
Yeah, that's good. He still looks to be in pretty good shape too.
Oh yeah. We had the Impact World Tag Team Championship match between Motor City Machine Guns, the Major Players, Heath and Rhino, and Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay.
I'm sure that was pretty good.
Yes, it was. You know who the Major Players are, right?
Yes, Cardona and Myers.
Yes. And we had Motor City Machine Guns coming out on top with that. The
That's
Guns put Bay away with a dirt bomb.
That's good. That's a good call. I like Motor City Machine Guns, so and they haven't had the titles long enough to be dropping them already.
I was gonna say they just became champions not too long ago, and right after that match, Frankie Kazarian comes out and announces that he has made a long-term contract with Impact Wrestling.
That's cool. I guess we can add him to the list of former AEW wrestlers.
They have either gone to Impact or to New Japan or to WWE.
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot. We've mentioned before, like the AEW roster, like people who aren't around anymore. I'm sure there's a lot more than I realize, but I can only really name a handful.
I mean, heck, most of the inaugural champions for AEW aren't even there anymore.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes was the inaugural TNT champion. Gone.
Yeah.
We just saw Frankie Kazarian. He's one half of the inaugural tag team champions. Other one being Scorpion Sky.
Yeah. Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky. Sorry.
No, you're good. Where's Christopher Daniels? I know he hasn't been around in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen him either. I saw him in either the Ring of Honor show, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't even remember which. The recent Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Yeah, the more recent one.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since I've seen Christopher Daniels.
So yeah,
It's pretty surprising that Christopher Daniels never went to WWE.
yeah.
I'd be pretty sure that they would have snatched him up at some point.
We had after that the Digital Media Championship be defended between Moose and Joe Hendry.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I don't know how to feel when they did the whole Moose beating Joe Hendry. I felt like that was right because Moose had been an Impact World Champion, and Moose was like one of the big top guys.
Yeah.
And then we had one of the most shocking things I've ever seen, where Santino Marella comes out. I had turned off the show by this point.
Yeah.
I turned off the show before this match ever happened. And then you send me Santino Marella.
Yep.
It's the new director of Authority. And I was like, oh my God.
It's pretty funny. So I missed a lot of his time in WWE. I wasn't watching. So I saw the tail end of his WWE run when he was doing the tag team with Emma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not super familiar with him.
And so I saw that, but the rest of the show I didn't watch.
Yeah. Do you have the lineup? I know Mickey.
I do. I have it right here, but I didn't watch the rest of the show, so I have it right here. I didn't even watch the Knockout Women's Championship match,
which I'm sure was pretty good. That was Mickey James and Jordan Grace.
Yes. Career versus title.
Yep.
The last rodeo.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have guessed how that was going to end.
Yeah. We also had Swan versus Macklin in a Falls Count Anywhere in Atlanta match. I believe.
Could see that being pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, Macklin spiked Swan and won.
Okay.
Then we had Gresham versus Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, I could see that being a decent match too. I'm not a huge Eddie Edwards fan, but Gresham's really good. And Eddie Edwards is good enough to have a good match there.
I was going to say Edwards put away Gresham with the Boston Knee Party to win.
Okay.
Gresham's the Ring of Honor champion that had like the Cthulhu head.
Yep.
Weird.
Jordan Grace's husband.
Yeah, weird.
It's weird, but it works, man. It's cool.
And then the last rodeo match between Knockouts Women's Champion Jordan Grace versus Mickey James. Mickey James comes out on top.
Yep. Yeah, I knew she wasn't retiring yet.
Yeah.
She's having a good run right now, and she's still got some years in her.
Which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, Grace has had it for a minute, and she's still young. She'll win it again.
Yeah. All right, now let's move on to either SmackDown or Rampage.
Didn't watch either.
Okay then.
I
guess we'll start with Rampage.
Yeah, I saw a couple clips from Rampage. I know there was a pretty gnarly botch. Anna Jay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Willow dropping Anna Jay on her bareback.
Yeah.
totally unprotected. Yeah. Didn't look good.
Nope. But I think you'll like this one. It was Darby Allin to start off the night. Darby Allin defending the TNT Championship against Juice Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they set that up on Dynamite. So hopefully that was a good match. I'm sure it probably was.
And you know what? Guess who came out with the win?
It wasn't Juice.
No.
No.
It was Darby.
Yeah. I mean that's again that's another one I could have predicted. Some of this stuff is a little too obvious.
If you're going to have title matches, don't make it too obvious if the champion's going to win or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody was surprised by that.
If you're going to have, it's like Brock Lesnar versus Ricochet for the WWE Championship. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They like Ricochet, but they won't push him that much.
No.
Then we had AEW World Tag Team Champions, The Acclaimed, come out with Daddy Ass. You know, the more and more I hear that, the less I think that there is truly someone that cares. And wouldn't you know it, they were trying to put their hands in cement for the Hollywood, whatever it was. I didn't pay much attention. And then Cole and Austin Gunn come out to interrupt them, proclaiming that they'll be the next challengers for the tag team titles. And then they got their pants torn off and their butts were put into the cement. Very childlike jokes on Rampage this week.
Sounds like it, man.
Butt jokes. We really went down to butt jokes. We had a whole death match like a year ago. Blood splattering and all that. We had a man trying to kill Chris Jericho with gasoline.
Yep.
I guess we laugh at people. I guess we laugh at the Gunn brothers getting their pants torn off and their butts being put in cement.
Well, I mean, when you're working with the scissor me daddy ass guys, you know, I guess
like The Acclaimed. I really do.
Yeah.
I just don't like that.
Yeah, it's well run its course with me, man. I like them; they're a good team, and like I said, I don't know. I think that's almost like there was just like too much acclaimed for a while. Too much of the scissor me daddy ass, and the people in the crowd with the giant scissors, and it's just too much. Too much of a good thing.
Yep. And then we had Brody King and Malachi Black versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz.
Yeah, so I guess seems like the rumors about Santino and Ortiz not getting along, and Santino wanting to sit at home
are true.
Yeah, because now that you got those two pairing. Yeah, it seems like it might have been a good match.
It was, and then we had the ending. That was like Malachi Black coming up to Ortiz because he accidentally distracted Eddie. Because Ortiz was asking Eddie, "Are you really going to hit a girl?" And then all of a sudden, Buddy Matthews had got in the way, and then Black hit Kingston with the black mass and pinned him. And Malachi Black comes up to Ortiz and says, "You did good," building up the tension even more.
Yeah.
You know, what if it's Santana that becomes the next person?
I mean, that could be cool.
Like, it's not Ortiz, but it's just Santana.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that could be cool. I mean, maybe if they're I don't know. Maybe if they're actually having some beef,
They're actually smart about the writing.
Yeah.
then we had the main event, which was Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay and Tay Mello in a street fight, which you've already said had a big botch.
Yep. I did see another clip with Ruby pouring blood out of her forehead. It was pretty gnarly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of blood even for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of cringing at. I'm kind of not ready for that yet when I go into wrestling. Is the part where I'm like having to cut my forehead open with like something or get thrown onto thumbtacks. I'm still not ready for thumbtacks. I'm fine with getting hit with a chair. I'm fine with getting hit with the table. I'm fine with a rolling ball coming to my balls. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm prepared myself for that. I'm not prepared for thumbtacks or razor blades.
Well, the thumbtacks, the thumbtacks, I think is something you just have to not think about and just do.
I think my body would be in shock.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any preparing for that. But as with staples, I always think about having them removed as being probably the more painful.
Hold still.
Yeah, because when you're landing on the tacks or doing the thing that causes you to have stitches or staples or whatever, your adrenaline, is up in those moments, and you're in the heat of the moment, and it doesn't really give you a whole lot of time to really feel much.
It's like I guess it's like being stabbed with a knife. Being stabbed with a knife is apparently not the same as getting the knife being pulled out.
Yeah. So that's what I think about is like, if you go on to wrestle with tacks in your back for another 20 minutes, you get to the back and then you have to go pull those things out. And
I just have to think back to that match with Moxley and what was his name? It was a street fight match. It was early AEW where Moxley landed his bare feet on thumbtacks.
Was that with Joey Janela?
Joey Janela.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked at that match and I just couldn't watch.
Yeah. The feet is more difficult. I'd be a lot more inclined to taking a back bump on a bed of tacks.
I'd rather take a back bump than putting my bare feet, my soft tootsies.
Yeah, man. I'll take a tack in the back of the head too over that.
Because of how painful it will be to walk.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was all for Rampage. So I guess we got one more show to talk about. And that was Friday Night SmackDown.
Yep.
Not a bad show. We started off the show really strong with a really good match. It was an Intercontinental Championship match between the champion, Gunther, and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to see.
It was heavy hit for heavy hit every time. And then Gunther just put away Strowman with an avalanche powerbomb.
Wow.
And it was awesome all the way through. Gunther didn't even have Imperium in his corner. It was him and Strowman. No shenanigans. It was a clean fight.
That's good, man. That's probably the way to go about it.
Yeah. So
you see those two big guys. That's something I want to see go down fairly.
Yeah.
Don't want any shenanigans there.
Then we had Mysterio and Cross face off with the War of Words. Karrion Kross tried to put Mysterio in a coquina clutch. Not coquina clutch. Sorry, that's Samoa Joe's move. The cross jacket.
Yeah.
Mysterio, however, fought back and got out of it. Then we had Tegan Nox versus Xia Li, which Tegan Nox defeats Xia Li.
That's a good call.
Yeah, but Xylee hasn't done much since her return.
Yeah, I mean, neither has Tegan. So.
Yeah. Then we had Bray Wyatt doing another promo in a rocking chair, nonetheless. Talk about LA Knight and how the lights will dim on LA Knight. The night will be dark.
Cool.
Also, I will have to point out, I'm probably going to buy this Mountain Dew Pitch Black flavor just because of the match. I'll just be drinking it on the Sunday show after Royal Rumble.
Yeah. You know how that is.
Yeah, I love trying Mountain Dew flavors. So we had Liv Morgan slap Raquel Rodriguez. Looks like Liv Morgan's becoming a heel. They had a whole altercation backstage.
Yeah, that's good for her. I think she could do with a heel turn.
And the Banger Bros, yes, I believe that's what they're going by now, is going to be facing the Viking Raiders next week. Why? Just, we talked about this last week. Why the Banger Bros?
It's weird, man. You know.
I don't think we've had to reiterate this 2 weeks in a row. Do not look up the Banger Bros.
Yeah.
You will not find Sheamus and Drew McIntyre.
No, I'm quite frightened to find out.
Johnny Sins.
Yeah, I'm quite frightened to find out. So beware.
Yes, viewer discretion is advised. We had Sonya Deville attack Charlotte Flair backstage. It looks like they're going to have a rivalry build up for the Royal Rumble, which Charlotte Flair is going to win.
Yeah, no doubt.
We had the match between Rodriguez and Liv Morgan the night on SmackDown, and Rodriguez putting away Liv Morgan with the Tajina bomb? Her finishing move.
Yeah.
And then the main event of the night was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, which ended in a no contest.
Yeah. Did you catch that one?
I did. And it looks like the Bloodline's going to turn on Sami Zayn very soon.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the night, Paul Heyman said they want Sami to do this on his own. And apparently when Sami was failing, they came out, told them it was all good, and then attacked Owens, trying to get Sami in on the attack.
Right.
They're going to turn on him.
Think so?
Yeah.
I mean, it would send them to like next level as far as, you know, they're pretty bad guys right now, but I think to do that would definitely get them some heat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that might be the way to go then. Heat sells.
So that was the SmackDown. That was the news.
Yeah, I mean, you had that rumor about WWE selling to Saudi Arabian government. That got some mad traction, and it, you know, I treated it like a rumor the entire time, but there's a lot of people that really jumped the gun and pretty much bought it, and it's funny to just kind of lurk in some of those boards and some of the groups and stuff like that, and just read comments and see how people are just way overreacting to unconfirmed, you know, rumor.
Yeah.
Taking those things way too seriously, too quick. But it did lead to some like pretty interesting and entertaining conversations. Some that I took part in, some that I just kind of, like I said, lurked and read, and some pretty good memes, pretty good jokes. So it was entertaining for a minute. Had Stephanie resign as CEO, which is kind of weird, kind of hard to know really what to make of that. But yeah,
I think we all know what happened.
I have theories. I have ideas, but they get to be pretty crazy and out there. So I don't know. Try to just kind of watch and be entertained.
Yep.
So
since we're done with the news, I guess we can get on to our little topic.
Yeah, man, the wrestling what ifs.
Yeah, I think we came up. I think I introduced this idea maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a week or two ago, soon, recently. And we kind of glossed over some interesting things, or touched on some interesting things earlier when we were talking. One of the what ifs, I guess, that I posed earlier, Christopher Daniels going to WWE. That would be a good what if.
Yeah.
Some of the matchups, say if Christopher Daniels had signed with them 10 years ago, or maybe even 15 years ago, some interesting matchups we could have seen.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to. The dog.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Could also have had like a what if they 3MB's like whole thing actually came out. Heath Slater wins the WWE title before he ends his WWE career.
So what if Heath Slater wins the WWE title before he retires?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be something. It'd be something. I don't know if he's got it in him, but who knows, man? That would be crazy to see happen, because I don't think I think the vast majority of wrestling fans right now would tell you there's no chance that that'll ever happen. So
like it's a whole 3MB reunion because Heath is back, and then he sees Jinder and Drew. They team up for a little bit, and then Heath gets pushed.
Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty cool. Like I said, I don't think anybody would expect that. So I think that's a good thing. If you can do something that nobody would expect, it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting thought there. Because I think likewise, nobody ever expected Jinder Mahal to make the return that he did and get the push that he got and win the WWE Championship. I think that surprised a lot of people. It surprised me, and that's part of the reason I found it entertaining.
Yeah. One of the big things I also wonder is if, what if Owen Hart never died?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that a time or two, just seeing him. I wonder if he would still be wrestling today. If so, would he be a WWE guy? Would he be an AEW guy? Owen did a lot of the flippy stuff. He was pretty acrobatic before it was cool. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see like where he would be and if he'd be in AEW or still be in WWE. Some of the matchups that you could have.
Yeah. What's another one? What if I think a lot of people have asked this in the past. What if WCW won the Monday Night Wars?
Yeah, that's definitely been thrown around a bit before. That's a big one. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think WCW would have had to do things a lot differently than they did to come out on top. So that even kind of changes, you know, a little bit of history there, because like I said, you couldn't have the late 99 2000 version of WCW running the way that they were running, putting on the stuff that they were putting on, and come out on top. So a lot of that would have had to change. They would have had to been doing something a lot better. It's hard to imagine,
Yeah, how they would modernize things with how they already were doing stuff, how scripts would go on, how characters would go through, and even like a butterfly effect. We have AEW trying to compete with WWE. What if AEW had to compete with WCW?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting because I see a lot of similarities between AEW and WCW, and I think that's a pretty obvious comparison. I'm sure tons of people have noticed that, but
even some pay-per-views were named.
Yeah. So I see a lot of similarities there, but likewise, what if AEW ends up, in this current timeline, buying WWE and purchasing WWE? That would be an interesting kind of turn of events, just in terms of events, it's would that make him the ultimate winner or the ultimate loser there?
I think Vince would be the ultimate winner.
Yeah, I think so.
I think everyone else would be the ultimate loser.
Right. Because in that scenario, Tony Khan is still forking over billions of dollars to Vince McMahon. So
what if like Tony Khan's just the puppet to the puppet master of Eric Bischoff? Like Eric Bischoff wins in the end.
Well, yeah, you just see Tony, come out to declare victory, come out to the ring, and he pulls his face off, and it's Bischoff, like Bischoff did back in the day
with the Stephanie McMahon thing.
Right, wearing the disguise. You find out this whole time that Tony Khan doesn't exist, and he's just a character created by Eric Bischoff to get the ultimate win. What if that same thing goes down, but instead of Bischoff removing the mask and revealing himself, it's Vince McMahon who pulls off the mask.
Vince McMahon does the biggest twist and has the biggest monopoly in wrestling history.
Right. Because this whole time,
it's Tony me, Austin. It's me all along.
Yeah. This entire time, Tony Khan was just a person created by Vince McMahon who had the money to pull it off. You
have Tony Khan, which has so much money. That would make so much sense.
Yeah.
Tony Khan has so much money. Where does he get his money from? And then it ties all to Vince McMahon.
Yeah. That would be pretty great. I mean, for all his faults, I like Vince. So
Vince did get us through some rough times.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's responsible for, so much good in my childhood. I got to give him credit, for that. So, like I said, for all his faults, he's still good with me.
He's also responsible for a lot of good memes.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the wacky scenario that we just laid out, where he reveals himself to be Tony Khan and all that, like that's just great.
Yeah. Here's a what if. What if TNA never sold out to Impact, but Impact sold out to TNA?
Yeah, like we currently still have like TNA and Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it would definitely be different. Be a different show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'd still have like that weird looking octagon looking ring.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't completely dislike. Um, it's not my favorite. I prefer the four corners, but
The
you know,
squared circle.
yeah. But old school TNA during that period, man, had some really good matches, nonetheless. So I wasn't too bothered by it.
I never got it though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just trying to give you that legitimate fight feel.
Yeah. Like it's an octagon like MMA.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever, and that was, I think, around the time period that MMA was really taking off.
Yeah, like UFC was finally kicking off.
Yeah, yeah. So I think they were just trying to, give it that element of realism, but also kind of, hey, look, we're kind of like MMA. You know, so a lot of wrestling is. You have a lot of.
Wrestling is just a whole lot of talent. It's a lot of physical talent between
Yeah,
wrestling, BJJ, MMA, some people from boxing.
yeah. You have all different kind of styles. And you even have some wrestlers that use a multitude of styles. So yeah, it's in a way it is MMA.
Yeah.
And then you had the back in the day with Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn, and even now with like Brock Lesnar. But there was that period in WWE where they had a lot of MMA guys like Ken Shamrock and people doing that style of wrestling.
Yeah.
Just to kind of also capitalize on that little bit of a MMA popularity.
I'm thinking about what we said earlier about WWE selling out WCW, about them winning the Monday Night Wars. If that happened, Rey Mysterio would still be unmasked.
Yeah. I guess technically that would stand. So
Heck, we could have probably gotten Sting versus Undertaker.
Yeah, no doubt.
And maybe a better version of Goldberg versus The Rock.
Well, I mean, you wonder too if we were talking about Vince kind of having poor treatment of the WCW guys after the buyout. Do you think Bischoff or whoever was running WCW would have kind of pulled that same stuff with the WWE guys? Do you think they would have just buried all of them, or do you think there would have been a little bit more fair treatment?
I think they would have done what what Tony Khan does with most of his guys.
Yeah.
Just benches them.
Yeah. So
Maybe
AEW
put them on under.
AEW is WCW. Had they not gone under?
It's WCW, but with so much talent.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good period with WCW where they had a pretty good amount of talent.
And they actually utilized that talent.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the like Lucha Libre stuff. I mean, my real introduction to Lucha Libre was through WCW. Having people like Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera and Psychosis and Ultimo Dragon, and I mean, they had a lot of that stuff and featured it, gave it time, and put it on every week, and that was my first bit of exposure to that stuff.
Yeah. And we can't forget the NWO.
Yeah.
One of the best things that ever came out of WCW.
Well, I mean, I think we've touched on before, like kind of comparing Bullet Club to NWO. I think Bullet Club has gone on over 10 years now, or right at 10 years. No, wait, it's 2023. So
it's right at 10 years.
Yeah. Which is definitely longer than NWO. So,
but more people do this for NWO than.
Oh yeah, even the Bullet Club thing, it's kind of a tribute to the NWO. It's a throwback and a reference to that. But yeah, what if NWO hadn't kind of killed itself? What if they were able to still be like a dominant faction in WWE with just a younger generation of people?
They tried that.
Did they?
Yeah. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It died quick. I think it was called Retribution.
Oh, well. Yeah, I meant like a straight up under the same
Like
banner.
a straight rip. Like same name, same
Same way that like the Bullet Club has just been a thing this entire time, and they've gone through AJ Styles and Kenny Omega to Jay White. It's just always a passing of the torch. It carries on throughout New Japan. What if you had that same lineage, with NWO, and they were still, because Bullet Club's still a big deal in New Japan, So if you had a current NWO faction in WWE wearing, rocking the white and black, the same symbol, everybody wearing the shirts.
like even having their own separate factions within the faction.
Yeah.
Bullet Club, Villain Club, Venom Club.
Yeah. Outsiders to the NWO.
The Wolfpack.
Yep. So yeah.
The LWO. The blue the blue WO.
Yep. Blue World Order, man.
Never forget.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, And if you had like the current generation, current WWE roster, like who do you think would be in that NWO group?
Well, obviously it would be like Finn Balor.
Yeah, would he be the Kevin Nash of the group, or the Hollywood Hogan? Would he be the leader?
No, I think Balor would more be like the Conan of the group.
Yeah, that's that's pretty interesting.
Not one that does much, talks a lot of crap, but still can back it up in some ways.
Yeah,
because he would have that experience in Bullet Club.
Yeah.
I don't think Styles would join.
No, he'd be the Stinger.
Yeah. Styles would either be like the Sting type that tries to fight off the Bullet Club, like he's done with Judgment Day, or just Styles would just be Styles. I mean, Styles was in WCW for a short run.
Yeah.
Roman would definitely be the new Goldberg.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. You got Braun Strowman and Paul White, or the Giant.
Yeah. Trying to think of some of the NXT guys, if NXT guys ever got into it. Who do you think would be the Raven?
That's a tough call, man.
Maybe no, not Seth. Well,
yeah, I mean, I'd maybe go a little bit with Gacy.
Maybe Gacy with his long hair, yeah.
I think Baron Corbin, but Bum Corbin, back when he was doing that thing, that little gimmick.
Bum ass Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I could see the little Raven in that.
Who would be the Nash or the Hall? Who would be Nash and Hall? We know, of course, Dominic's already trying to do an Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
So, Nash and Hall. I guess Nash would be Damian Priest.
I can see that. Yeah, that's a good call.
But I don't feel like anyone. LA Knight gives off a little bit of a Scott Hall.
Yeah. I can see that too. That's a good call.
Would be the Hogan of the group. Oh yeah, John Cena. There's a whole figure.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good call. It's a pretty interesting little bit of comparison there.
I got nothing else about what ifs. I mean, there's plenty of what ifs, but nothing that like piqued my interest too much.
Yeah.
Maybe like, what if Shane McMahon took over the company?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't feel like much would change. Actually, I feel like things would be worse.
Yeah, I mean, I've read some rumor stuff about some of Shane's kind of backstage behavior and kind of the way he is, and the way he books matches.
Yeah, I feel bad for that timeline.
Yeah, I don't know that would be such a good thing. I think Shane's always been pretty good in the role that he's taken. So I wouldn't change much about Shane.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do the what if, so and so didn't die? What if so and so didn't retire? You can play that game.
Yeah, we can play that all day long.
Yeah, I think one of those as far as like injuries too, like Tyson Kidd. Do wonder how far he could have went, what he would be doing if he didn't get injured.
Yeah. Heck, not just Tyson Kidd, but I can think of many wrestlers that got injured early on in their life that could have gone on to be big things.
Well, we touched on it earlier too. Brian Pillman, like his story, man, is pretty sad, because like right when he was peaking, and kind of going after it, he had some injuries and just had that car accident, and he never really got to shine, because a lot of his WWF appearances, he didn't really wrestle much. He had a very short like in-ring career because of his injuries. So a lot of times he was on that cane. He was just doing promo stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Interesting to think about, what it would have been like if he'd actually been full health at that time and not had his injuries. Some of the awesome stuff we could have seen him do.
I guess out of all things, I have to I never thought I'd do this. I have to quote Kanye West. I guess we'll never know.
Oh, yay.
Wow. We could go on and on and on and on and on, but then that'd be like a 15-hour video. So let's say we end it here and call it a night.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's watching and cares to drop a what if, idea, something cool to talk about in the comments or something, that's cool. Do that.
I mean, I got a good one. I mean, what if Ryback wasn't such a douchebag?
Well, he probably would have gotten a better run.
He probably would actually got a WWE Championship push.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the night.
Go.
Thank you all for watching. This was the Bad Brothers Babyface Breakdown.
Yep.
As always, unless these names change right here, I am Big Bubba Brogdon.
I am Bush Dingo, the Luchador.
And we will be right here waiting for you next week. We're always sitting in this chair.
Yep. Never leave this spot.
We never leave. Well, See you guys.
Peace.
Enjoy your week.